wool. This one's near and dear to our heart. I've traveled over to the wool farms, spoken to the farmers, spoken to the processors, the factories. As many of you know, we do have a lot of wool products. We also have a lot of products made of other fibers. And my goal today, I'll present a lot of information to you, is to educate everyone on the benefits of wool, but also how it fits in with the other fibers in on samples as well as products in your showroom in the current market. So I love starting out with this slide right here because it's a wonderful summary for really three categories on the benefits of wool: the people, the planet, and the style friendly. And we're going to dive into a lot more today. However, it's a great summary here to see the benefits and how wool moves forward. So I'm not going to just read slides today. I'm going to highlight some of the key points and takeaways. So for this one, it's really the people, the planet, so that's sustainability, and then style. And when I talk about style, some of you probably will be able to relate to this right away, is that when you see wool, you know it's wool compared to other fibers. The way it looks, the luxury of it, the way the colors are dyed. So we're going to hop right into the next slide. And when I mentioned talking about how wool fits in with other fibers, I think it's important that we zoom out for a second and just think about all of the various different materials that carpets and rugs are made of right now. And there are a lot. All right. And so here's a great chart breaking it down from, you see wool and the natural materials, which is a more historical, obviously, material that they've been making carpets from natural materials, as well as the man-made products there on the right side of the chart. The nylon, the polypropylene, the polyester. So really the big four, and this is going to be no surprise to anyone. Wool, nylon, polypropylene, and polyester are the most common. It's important to, when you think about fibers, and when we talk about the different materials, is that wool is the original, and wool is also the benchmark material in regards to performance that synthetic fibers are attempting to replicate. Now, we sell and you sell synthetics and natural fibers and wool. And some synthetic fibers do have advantages for certain attributes, but overall, wool has the best combination and the most well-rounded performance compared to the other fibers. And so when I'm talking about that, this is a perfect chart to see and to just kind of compare some of the performance. So this is what we call the performance chart. And there are, reasons and certainly great performance for a lot of the different fibers. So for example, the most popular, fiber right now, would probably be polypropylene in regards to the number of products that are just coming out in the market. However, polypropylene oftentimes flattens out or uglies out. And so it doesn't have the resilience compared to some of the other fibers. Now, it does have very good performance in some categories. So when I talk about wool being well-rounded across the board, wool does really well in all of these different categories. And then when you take it to the next step, there are benefits for wool that synthetic carpets just don't have at all. And so some of those are air quality, filtering, the warmth, the color dyeing, the allergen, VOCs, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. Now, I also want to just also mention that one of the reasons I wanted to talk about wool today was that a lot of consumers and designers in the market are fiber agnostic. And what I mean by that is that they don't come in saying, I want wool, I want nylon as much. It's common. Some people might. However, they're really driven by color and design and comfort. And a lot of that has to do with just our consumer behaviors as a whole. I'm guilty of it as well. Shopping for clothes, I'm like, oh, it looks great. I want it, but it doesn't always perform the way I want to because I was not an educated buyer. And so that's really the goal, is to try to educate, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't look good, people aren't going to want it no matter what the material is. But if it's a beautiful product and it provides extra benefits, that's a real winner. All right, so we're going to get a little bit into the science here, and I will go through this quickly. So I hopefully don't tune out on this, but I do think it's important to understand that when we are working with a natural fiber, the reasons why wool has the performance. And so this is a graph. There's four main parts of a wool fiber here that we're going to talk about: the membrane, the cuticle, the cortex, and the helix. So the membrane, this is the outer part of the wool fiber. The membrane has really two great benefits here. It's the air filter, kind of like an air filter in your car, as well as the spill protector. And that's one of the benefits of wool in regards to being easy care, and it naturally resists stains. We've probably heard us say this over and over again. Wool, water beads up on it, right? Compared to a synthetic fiber where the liquids just completely go down. Well, why does it do that? And the membrane is the reason why. The membrane acts as a filter, and it also provides the stain resistance. So now you still certainly need to clean up stains before they set in, but the membrane provides stain resistance, and it filters the air to balance humidity and temperature and provide comfort. The next part we're going to talk about is the cuticle. The cuticle provides coziness and softness for comfort, as well as it traps particles for vacuuming. And so this is an important one to think about too, as we talk about the fiber and the performance of it, is that wool traps dust and particles. So and that's part of the filtering. And why that's important is that allows the dust and particles and allergens and whatever else is in the atmosphere in that house or the room to stay in the wool until you vacuum it up, as opposed to being floating around in the air and causing more discomfort. And that's part of what the cuticle provides. And this is something that synthetic fibers just don't have and can't replicate due to the nature of those fibers. So the cuticle is very important. In addition, obviously cozy and comfortable is really key these days, and it provides softness that a lot of synthetic fibers also are replicating. Okay, up next is the cortex. The cortex here, if you see the little arrow, it's the inner side, as we're working from the out to in of wool fiber. And the cortex adds the body and the bulk. And this is what provides a luxurious look for wool carpets and fibers. It has the resistance to compression from the cortex, and that provides us durability. That provides us a lot of insulation for heat and noise also. And then that also contributes to the comfort that the cuticle also offers. So, and then the last one here, I'm flying through these, I know, is the helix. And the helix is the inner spring. Think of it kind of like the slinky on the very inside, the spring that provides wool the bounce back ability and the durability over time. Looping it back to polypropylene that flattens out. Wool doesn't flatten out because of the helix. Polypropylene and synthetic fibers don't have a helix. And you see the little arrow here right at the end. That is the helix there. So now let's talk about the benefits. Now, I don't anticipate many of your customers ever asking you about, the membrane. Tell me about the membrane, Thomas. No, they probably won't, but they do want to know the benefits. And so I'm getting into a little bit more, guys, the information nuggets. And what I hope that you can take away today is just few of those little nuggets, those ideas, phrases that you can then feel more confident and more educated to present wool and to see how so your customers can understand what they are buying and what they are looking at. Lasting appearance here. Um, this is probably number one. It's the wool is so durable, and it will retain its shape and its appearance, its color over time. And you hear people say, I've had this carpet, it looks so good, so long, compared to maybe some synthetic that uglies out or it soils out. I love this fun fact here at the bottom that wool fibers can bend up to 20,000 times without breaking, which is just remarkable. Now, hopefully, you're not walking 20,000 times in and out of a room, but that really is just remarkable. Now, so retaining their shape and color and appearance is a key benefit. Easy care. Easy care. People often say, "Oh, I want performance fibers, indoor, outdoor, polypropylene, things like that." And now, no, those certainly have a benefit. However, wool is the original easy care fiber because of that structure that we discussed. It repels dirt and spills. It cleans well. Those stains don't set in, immediately, and it makes them a low maintenance option in that regard. As normal vacuuming and spot cleaning provides wool the really easy way to get up spills, and I'm guilty of this. Spilling coffee on the carpet, certainly, and when it's wool, it comes up. It takes a little work to spot clean, but it comes up, and it's easy to work with, and it's easy to live with. And so the membrane has a lot to do with that, as we talked about. So when you think about why wool is easy care, think about that membrane, that the resistance to spills when liquids are beating up. We think the membrane on that one. Low flammability. This one really surprised me, and I didn't think about this one until I learned more about wool and the natural fibers. Is that it doesn't ignite. So wool is very fire safe. Great for kids. Great if there's any dangers or you were worried about fires, and it won't ignite until temperatures over 1,000 degrees, which is remarkably hot, much hotter than you see the little fun fact at the bottom here. That's about 200 degrees hotter than a pizza oven. And then also too, if it were to ignite, synthetic fibers, emit, I don't know what, but it's a synthetic fumes. And wool is a natural fiber. It doesn't require any chemical treatments to be fire safe or fire resistant. It just is on its own. And then air quality. Air quality here is always an interesting one because sometimes we hear people say, "Oh, I'm allergic to wool," and there have been studies to prove that that's not accurate. However, I wouldn't ever suggest arguing with anyone about their potential allergies. What they might be allergic to is the allergens that wool traps and then holds within the fibers, and then are then removed from cleaning. The wool actively cleans your air by trapping those fibers. In order to remove those allergens, what do? We vacuum. It's an easy solution, and it provides a better experience and better air quality inside. And quiet comfort. Now, quiet comfort is an interesting one. I kind of like to equate this, and this is why wool is often used in theaters, in restaurants, and in places where there's lots of noise. Is because wool absorbs the noise, reduces echo, creates a more comfortable environment, quieter environment, due to the fibers and the way that they are absorbing sound waves and noise. And hopefully none of you, experienced too much of this, but, it's like the difference when someone above you on the floor just has hardwood floors or maybe a synthetic material, and you hear them walking or stomping or something like that, compared to a wool a wool rug or wool carpet, in the way that absorbs the noise. So wool provides a lot of comfort in regards to the other health benefits that we just discussed. Now, cleaning tips, I do want to just touch on this slide here, because certainly it's always a good reminder, because every fiber has different cleaning guides and every company has different cleaning suggestions. But the most important cleaning tip for wool is vacuuming. A regular vacuuming routine will allow all of those allergens to be that are trapped in the wool fiber to be removed. And then blotting liquids, not rubbing, is always our suggestion. Don't rub, blot with a cotton towel. And if you have more cleaning questions, we love to talk about cleaning and spot cleaning and removing. And please reach out to Michelle, Kip, or myself to talk more, to help assist you to feel more confident when you have any questions or need any products for that. So this is the quick summary of the wool benefits that we went over. And this is probably one of the best slides, just to keep it short and sweet. Wool is durable. Wool is easy to clean. Wool is resistant. It improves air quality. It's fire safe. And it has beautiful color. And why wool has all of those things is based on the construction in the membrane, the cortex, the helix, and the science behind the performance of the fiber. And so for someone, when they're thinking about wool, those are some of the key benefits of the material. But it all loops back to our first slide here, which is people friendly, planet friendly, and style friendly. So, as we talk about those categories, I think that this is a great simplification to think about, and not to get stuck with all of the bigger details. And we could go on and on about some more details on wool, but wool will provide all of the benefits that we've talked about, and it provides the most comfort. It's the most sustainable material, biodegradable, and it's going to provide the best look as well. So, guys, that's all we had for today. We kept it a little shorter, a lot of content here. I do appreciate everyone joining. As I mentioned, that we will upload this as well. If you would like a copy of the slide deck, please shoot us an email. And we will send it over to you. As always, we thank you for your support and your interest, and hope you have a great rest of the week.